Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is reveal day of the Flavor of the Month card kit by Scrapping for Less for the month of December. Today we'll be making 4 cards, one from each of the collections. The theme for the month of December is Animals in the Arctic. So the first card here is using collection 1, and we're going to be using sketch number 4. So each month, Scrapping for Less has 4 card sketches to go with that card kit. You can download that over on their website at scrappingforless.com. Just go to the downloads tab, it'll be right there. So for sketch number 1, I am going to be using the adorable bear in the Sunny Studio stamp set that comes with this collection. So right now I'm just kind of getting all my pieces cut of the pattern paper. Some of these sketches don't have measurements on them, so when I make the card and I kind of determine my own measurements, I go ahead and write those down. So you will see me doing that occasionally through the video. So here we're going to stamp out this sweet bear, and we're going to color him in with some Copic markers. Now I use some extreme black ink from My Favorite Things, and I'm using Copic markers and occasionally a Spectrum Noir marker. So just using 2 different purples here, a V25 and I believe a V17. Now I didn't have a darker purple, so I'm using some C5 to kind of darken some shadow areas. Kathy Rakusin gave me a great tip. When you don't have a darker color, sometimes you can bring in a darker gray to act as those shadow areas. So that is what I did on the scarf. For the bear itself, I'm using warm grays. I'm using W0, W2, and W4. Once my little bear is all colored in, I'm grabbing the smallest circle die that will fit the image and cutting that out. Now I wanted to have a black border around this. I don't have a die that would work, so I'm using this Creative Memories set that I have, but that first circle, that little blade doesn't go all the way to the edge, so I did not get the circle, the size circle I thought I was going to. So what I did is I put that back down and I used my X-Acto knife to go over it. It didn't give it a very clean look, but it did the job enough where once I get the rest of the card together, you won't really notice that it's a little rough around a certain few places. So I'm using the sentiment, sending big bear hugs. I stamped that out with the same ink that I stamped out the bear, and now I'm just adding a few finishing touches. Now my camera did die, I apologize, but I'm just showing you here. I added some foam tape to the little flag and the sentiment, and I put a mat on the inside with another stamped image of the bear. So that is card 1 from the collection, using collection 1 and sketch 4. So moving on to collection 2, we are going to be doing sketch number 2. Now I'm making a square card, so I just grabbed some white cardstock from my stash and I cut a 5x10 that cardstock down to 5x10 to make a 5x5 card. So go ahead and fold that, add my layer. This card, I should have looked a little bit more at the sketch because I definitely have a few times that I take it apart. But it happens and no one will know if you didn't see it here. So stamping out this really cute penguin with the cocoa image, and I'm kind of debating I know I want to use this smaller circle die, and I was debating how much of the image would be cut off, and I decided it wasn't enough to not do that, because that size is what's going to fit best with this sketch. So now that that is already stamped and cut out, now I'm going to color it. Again, using some various purples. I'll leave the colors in the description below. Unfortunately, I was just kind of on a roll and didn't even think to put the caps up. So I'm using 3 different colors of purple for the scarf and the hat. I do color the penguin's body in with a couple different gray markers, but there's really not enough of the black part of the body to really bother with shading. So just using the darkest gray that you're going to use for him is probably just fine. And for the inner part of his body, I'm using the warm grays because I'm going to use the cool grays for the marshmallows. So you saw me bring in a few gray markers, but there's really not enough of that black area of the penguin to worry about shading in. Coloring in the cup, I apologize, my head does get in quite a bit, but at least it doesn't cover up what I'm doing. Putting some cool gray on those marshmallows, and that is going to be it for my image. So as I'm putting this card together, I decide these grays kind of blend together. And I thought if I just add some dash lines on that one piece of gray, which you'll see I do add the dash lines, like it would be enough to make it stand out, but it doesn't. So I decided I need to bring in some black cardstock. Now to back my little penguin, I used a mini scalloped circle die. And on this piece here, this is where I bring in the dash lines, and I decide that just that pattern paper doesn't pop enough. So I'm going to take that apart and back that with some black cardstock, just enough to kind of give it a little bit of division. And I didn't think to do that sooner on this little piece of gray on the little tab part there. So I just grabbed some black cardstock and kind of wing it that way. Now, once I realize when I'm putting this together, I need to put this little strip over the black circle. I take the penguin off so that I can put these little stripes on as they are on the sketch, and then go ahead and put that penguin piece back on. Now there's 3 little dots on the right and left. I went to use sequins, but the sequins were too light, so I used some Nouveau drops. Moving on to card 3, collection 3. And we're going to be doing sketch number 1. So right now I'm just trimming down my pattern paper that I'm going to be using. It's kind of measuring any way I want, and then when I find what I like, I do write that down. And on this white piece, I'm not sure what happened. It just didn't trim up the way I thought it was going to, so I just needed to take a little bit more off, because on the side of this white cardstock, the white cardstock is going to be my scene, and to the left we're going to add some little flags as shown in the sketch. So go ahead, now I'm going to create my little scene using this mountain range. I decided I didn't want it to be perfect there in the middle, even though it fit perfect there in the middle, so I'm using a full sticky note, post-it note. This is like sticky all over the back for my mask. So I'm going to stamp it a little offset, add the mask, and then stamp it again. This is one of my first times attempting just a scene without any layers or anything. and I am super happy with how this came out. There'll be some really close-up photos of this particular scene on my Instagram or over on the blog post that coordinates with these cards. So if you'd like to see a close-up, I was pretty happy with how this came out. I didn't do too much masking. There's really nothing really over one another. But I was really happy with this, like I've probably said a zillion times. So going ahead, coloring this in, again with mostly the same colors that I've been using on the other cards. Some cool grays, warm grays here for the little bear, same colors for the penguin. And again, I'll have those listed below and over on this coordinating blog post, which the link to that will be in the description below. Scrapping for Less is having a blog hop in relation to this release. I'll also leave the Scrapping for Less link below in case you'd like to start from the beginning, or you can just go ahead, click on my blog and just, move along the hop. So just bringing in some tumbled glass this is the Distress Oxide inks for the little sky there. And then I'm bringing in my white gel pen and I'm putting white little snowflakes over the entire scene so it looks like it is snowing, not only in the back, but where these little critters are. And it's just so darn cute. So I'm going to put that aside to dry. And I'm going to do some die cutting. Got to make those banners. And I decided I think I was going to use this snowflake. I don't end up using it. I'm really happy with how it came out. I used some Delicata Silver Shimmer ink for just coloring in that snowflake. And here we're going to start putting our card together. Now on this one, I thought about backing that purple piece up with some black cardstock, but I thought it was actually dark enough to not have to do that against that gray pattern paper behind it. I think it shows up fine. This is where I want to use the snowflake, but it just doesn't really fit. In the sketch, there's like a little piece right there, like in the corner where I put that little rhinestone, but I really didn't want to put anything over that scene. So I do end up just leaving it alone. Adding a little strip of that coordinating purple paper on the inside and coloring in this little penguin just to do a little something for the inside of this card. I will go ahead and adhere that, and that will do it for card number 3. Now card number 4 is collection 4, and we are going to be doing sketch number 3. This one was really hard to decide what papers to use because they're just so pretty. So I do decide on this like blue for the main panel. It's got like some stars or snowflakes on there. Now this sketch has lots of layers, so I'm using the purple cardstock, that's the grape jelly that came with a card kit, as my card base. Then I'm cutting down some black cardstock about 1/4 inch all around, and then I'm bringing in this pattern paper and then cutting that 1/4 inch again. The measurements for this particular sketch are on the card sketch sheet, so if you do download that, these measurements will be on there. So then I'm going ahead and again cutting where my image is going to be stamped, and then I need to cut out my banners. So I'm just cutting 1 inch off of the pattern, the 3 pattern papers here. And then I'm going to end up die cutting those with a, it's a stitched banner or fishtail banner die. I'll have it linked below. It's from My Favorite Things. And I apologize, I did not shut the camera off during this little process while I was overcutting those. There's a little bit of nothing going on right at the moment. So once I'm done cutting the banners out, I am going to work on this little stamped portion. So I'm pulling out the stamp set, which is from LDRS. It's called Arctic Animals, and I decided to take the fox image, and we're going to use that. And I do put it aside. I do want to try to use these sentiments, but they just weren't fitting in the space that I cut, and I could have cut the sentiments down, but they were kind of small, so I decided to just leave it with no sentiment. So this is where I decided to try to do a little experimentation with this fox. So I went to Pinterest and I found this image of a fox that I thought was adorable, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to color this. I don't know if I like or dislike the coloring on this fox. I don't even get halfway through coloring when I'm like, I really don't like what I'm doing. But I'm going to just push through and see what happens at the end. Now, at the end, and even as of now while doing this recording, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It was definitely something I experimented with, and I tried to do like some different textures and try to get some different colors. But, you know, this is attempt number 1. It's not going to be perfect. I do use it. I don't think it's horrible. I just I'm going to have to practice. So I'm coloring this in with all kinds of just crazy colors, like some browns and like brown reds and some light browns and this orangey brown color. I'll have the colors again listed below. I'm sure they have proper names, but I don't have them right in front of me. So once I have what I consider to be a mama fox all done, we're going to work on baby fox and try to attempt the same coloring on this adorable little baby. Then I decided to go in and try to stipple a little color on for a little texture and add a little bit of blue underneath them. And then I decided to just bring in that sponge that had the tumbled glass oxide ink and just kind of put that in the back to just kind of break up that white. So I have all these little scraps of foam tape, so I went ahead and put those on there, adding the tape to all my little banners, get those situated, and go ahead and push that down. Using one of the Jolie snowflakes for that little corner, adding a white mat on the inside, and that will do it for card number 4. So here are the 4 cards I made using the Flavor of the Month card kit by Scrapping for Less. If you're interested in this kit, head on over to their website. You can go ahead and order it there, or you could become a subscriber and you'll get this kit shipped to you every month. The link will be listed below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, everyone, have a great day. Bye.